segment is brought to you by Bud's Plumbing, Heating, Air Conditioning, and Electric. You need Bud's.
Welcome back to Living 757. I'm really proud of everything that we do on this show, but I really, really love this segment because it's where we honor hometown heroes. And the one we have today is so special. She's a labor and delivery nurse who just so happened to be holding my hand when I had Adrian, and I love her so much. Let's welcome Meighan Harris. Hi.
How are you, Meighan?
Good. How are you guys? We're good. Thank you so much for joining us.
Absolutely.
I love you so much.
Love you too.
Guys, I actually met her when I was in labor with my son. So like, this is real love right here. Now, how long have you been a labor and delivery nurse?
Almost 10 years now.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, a long time.
Goodness. How did you get started?
So I did not ever want to work with men. Sorry for all the men out there. I knew from the beginning I wanted to work with women, and pregnant people are my favorite. I loved babies from when I was like 5 years old. So I was like, okay, this is for me. And they're like, oh, you have to do med surg first. And I was like, no, I think I want to go right into labor and delivery. So I did my externship as a student there. And really that was like a long 6-week interview and went right into it.
That is awesome. So Meighan, 10 years is a long time. I believe you saw so many deliveries, right?
Yes.
So what is the most rewarding part of your job to being in the labor and delivery?
I think it's being there for a woman that's so vulnerable. So some people have 10 family members, some people have no family members, some people's husbands are on deployment. Some situations aren't so great and you have to be there for that person. So you're kind of like becoming a family member. And a lot of times I do. I get adopted.
And especially at that moment, because you have so much nervous going on. You don't know what to expect. That when you see our nurse right there, it's like, you are my savior. Tell me everything.
Yeah. And I mean, we had Adrian during COVID, so we were allowed no visitors.
Oh, we have some pictures.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that was
first picture ever.
Yeah, that was our first picture ever. That was right before Adrian was born.
Yep.
That baby was born on my birthday, so they let me take a picture with that baby.
Oh, that is so cute.
Snuggles.
So cute. But yeah, I can attest to you being someone who automatically becomes family. When I saved your name in my phone that day, I saved it with the angel emoji and a heart, because I was like, I don't know you, but I already love you.
Yes.
And I mean, she came back and hung out with us and helped us get Roku hooked up in the hospital room.
Oh, yeah.
And that's how I feel too when I see the nurse, when you have at that moment. So now I just ask you about the most enjoyable part. What is the hardest part of your job?
The hardest part is that labor and delivery is not always happy. So everybody thinks, oh, we're going to go to the hospital, we're going to have a baby. It's like rainbows and butterflies. But my job entails a lot harder things as well, because I did high risk for 7 years. So in that high risk hospital, we see losses, which unless you've experienced it yourself, you don't know about it. You don't really think about it, and it's not to anyone's fault, but I didn't know about it before I became a nurse. And then you're like, wow, like people really experience a lot of things that I didn't know about. So trying to go from that in one room to the next room where someone's having a healthy baby, that is the biggest challenge I think I faced over the 10 years, to try and get your mind in those two different places, but be that person that person needs and the other person needs in that same 12 hours.
And that's why we call you heroes, because to have the ability actually to, like you just say it, from room to room, delivering good news versus maybe a loss is so incredible, and so proud that you can do that.
I remember one story you told me about somebody who had to deliver a baby very early, and the baby was born alive, but the parents were too upset.
Yeah.
And you said you stepped behind a curtain and held that baby.
I feel bad. I mean, they have to cope with it on their own,
Right.
but I also have to cope. So you, in the moment, you have to be there for the patient, but I have to go home and live with all the decisions I make too.
Yeah.
So you got to put on a face.
Yes.
So sometimes when you go home and you have a glass of wine and you cry and you let it out, but then you have to go back the next day.
God bless you, and that's why God chooses the person to do this job. Now, if someone wants to do this career, what will be your best advice for them?
I think to shadow before you go.
Yep.
So find a friend, contact the hospital, come try it out, see what it's like, because a lot of people think, oh yeah, this is what I want to do, and they get there, and after like a week, they're like, this is not for me. Yeah, not for me. And that's okay.
Yeah,
But I'd
exactly.
rather you know like 2 weeks in than a year in and you're like, oh man, I hate this. Because you know that, the other nurses with you know that, the patients know that. So do what you love. And nursing is a full rounded career. You can do a million different things. So.
Yes, and we love you for that, and we love all the nurses around the world because they are doing a great, great, and amazing job. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me.
I love you.
Love you too.